Good evening, guys, and happy Monday to all of your sunshiny faces. So yesterday I was convinced that it was Monday, and today kind of felt a little bit more like a Monday. Jack actually had a doctor's appointment this morning, so him and my mom left, and he ended up waking me up just to let me know that they had like left, so that I didn't like wake up and was like, nobody's in the house, you know, that kind of thing. So, but I never really fell back asleep, so I was up kind of early this morning, but then I didn't like get up out of bed and really do anything until kind of later. Then when I finally did, I was originally trying to, and I've been thinking about this now because I've been going through those pictures and I've been sharing with you guys, like, as I've been going through my aunt's pictures and like how I want to kind of like organize them, because okay, I have like things like sorted out, like all of the photos kind of, and like I've done a really good job at also matching up the photos, like ones that clearly went together. Like again too, I was using like kind of clues in the photo, like people were wearing the same thing in this, or you know, like these pictures were taken outside, and again too, like I could match up like the people that were in them and stuff like that, and figure out like, oh, that was probably from this party or that or whatever, you know, like if I could identify somebody's house and then figure like, oh yeah, and everybody was wearing like the same thing in this, you know, like you know, like picture or whatever, it's the same as that picture and it was at the same house, and you know, like that kind of stuff. It was, you know, if they didn't have writing on the back that said that, or they also didn't have a date, because that was some of the other ways I was able to kind of like figure it out, was like if they either had like the date printed on the photo, or if like somebody had written on the back of the photo like the date, or what event it was, like if it was like so-and-so's wedding, or you know, this birthday party or anniversary or whatever it was, then it was easy to figure out. But in some cases their photos just didn't have anything written on them, and there was really no way to know for sure. So I was able to use, like I said, kind of like those context clues a little bit in trying to figure out which photos may be grouped together. And again too, there's probably a handful of pictures that like that probably do go together, but I just can't tell that they do. You know, like they were from, again too, like a graduation party, and I can't tell that they were all from like the same thing, because like, you know, there weren't the same people in them or whatever it was. So again, I'm doing the best that I can. Obviously, like I'm sure even if my aunt went through the photos, she probably still would even be like, I don't know if that was from this day or that day or this party or whatever. I mean, they go back, you know, quite some time, over 50 years. Actually, we have some of the photos that were really old, like before my aunt and my grandma were even born, and those ones are from, like, I think we have ones that date back to around the 30s. So we have some fairly old photos, like, you know, again, over 80 years old. So you know, a lot of that stuff, it's just, you know, again too, I kind of have to use some of those contexts to figure out like where and when stuff was taken. And you know, again too, it's not, and also too, because like there are family I mean, there are family photos as well, a lot of them are, but like because they weren't like my personal like photos, or like the ones like my parents took, you know, things like that, like it's, you know, again too, a little bit difficult in trying to figure out and piece all of them together perfectly. So like I said, I'm doing the best that I can, but today was a big day at trying to figure out how I want to actually organize them indefinitely, if that makes sense, and what I want to use to organize them. So I figured like the type of like envelopes and things like that I think I want to store them in, and try and store them in to the best of my ability as well, and how I want to like categorize them and like that kind of stuff to make it easier. And long story short, I think I figured that out today. I was like talking with my mom about it, I was talking with my dad about it. I was like, does this make sense? I was like, you know, because again too, when I did our family photos a handful of years ago, like the way I set it up seemed like it would work and make sense like for us. But again too, because I'm giving them back to my aunt, I don't know necessarily like, you know, the system in how I would organize them, if they would work for what she wants them for, because again too, I don't really know. I mean, she just wants them organized, so I mean, I guess whatever system I kind of put in place will work, but I don't know if she wants them organized by like category, like these are all the birthday photos from the different birthdays, and then they're all like in their own envelope or something like that, and these are all the wedding photos, and then they're organized by that. Or if she wants them done like specifically like by year, so like everything from 95 is all organized and sorted through and stuff like that, and then 96, and you know, like that kind of stuff. You know, and then like again too, it was like Kayla's first birthday was in 96, my cousin's second birthday, my other cousin was born in 96, like, and so like, you know, again, those events that kind of like take place in order, although that's not the right order, but you know, like that kind of stuff, so that like they're put in order of that, those events in year, you know, that year or something like that. Now again too, it gets a little bit difficult certain years because I don't know when some of this stuff happened or took place, but again too, if I can kind of just group things like generally, like this was probably between, you know, maybe 70 to 75, like that kind of stuff too, I can organize them that way. But I think, long story short, I finally figured out the system and the way that I think I'm going to organize them, which I think is going to be by year, but then also kind of by like, you know, again, have all of the individual envelopes have each different event in them. So again too, if there was like a lot of photos from my cousin's first birthday, going to keep all those photos in like one envelope together and like that kind of stuff too. So and then just keep them all in like a big envelope as far as like those like subcategories then. So I think that's how I want to do it. It was kind of similar a little bit to how I did our photos. I actually want to redo our photos, but not like redo them, just kind of like do them the way I'm going to do this with like the envelopes, because I didn't do that. I just kind of kept everything like by like year, I think, and sort of decade maybe too. But anyways, I'm going to redo our photos, but everything's already organized. It's just I want to do a new system and like the envelope method that I think I'm going to do with this, and hopefully it works out. But it's very similar to what I did with our photos. So it's just I didn't have the envelopes at the time, so I think I just used maybe brown paper bags, or I don't know, something like that. But anyways, that is the plan, and that was what I was doing today. I also did a lot of editing though today, but I didn't like organize or categorize any of the photos. I just went over how I want to do them. So now I actually need to get the envelopes, and that'll take probably a couple days, so I'm not going to probably get back to the photos stuff very quickly. But I also need a slight bit of a break because it's been a lot looking at all those photos and organizing them and stuff like that. So that's why I did some other things, made some grocery lists, I did some editing, and like I said, figured out what system I want in place for the photos. So now I can do that as well. But anyways, I'll see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, I'd love it if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.